Hello. In preparation for writing our first report in this class, which is going to be a short report, I wanted to go over a few tips on really what to focus on and what will make a strong short report. We're specifically going to be writing incident reports, but a lot of this feedback really would would apply to any short report that you're writing. So because it is literally a short report, one of the pieces that's important is to make sure that the details that you're including are essential, like they need to be there, and that they're given in a concise way. That's how you can keep the length down versus ending up with something very lengthy and wordy that sounds more like an essay. So in a report, really focusing on what a specific detail is going to help you do that. That's also going to help with clarity. So when we think of specific details, maybe I'm writing an incident report about something that happened on campus. And maybe I say something like, an incident occurred in building 22. Well, building 22 is a really big place. That's really not a specific location. If I wanted to get specific, I would have to say, the incident occurred at the front desk in LSS West. Okay, now that's a really specific location. You can't say something happened in the morning. Well, approximately what time? Was it approximately 10:22? So when you're thinking of those specific details, like you want to get detailed, but then you don't want to add in lots of sort of extra fluff along the way. Part of the way that you can do that is to remember that it is a report, meaning that you're not giving your personal opinions in terms of what happened. You're just reporting the facts of what occurred. So it's that reporting tone that you want to use. It shouldn't include lots of extra emotion. It shouldn't include how you felt or anything like that. It should really be simply what occurred. Like, what were the actions that happened? Who was there? Who saw it? Was there anything dangerous? Did anyone have to go to a hospital? What were the aftermath effects, right? What happened afterwards? So those are really the key pieces that you're trying to focus on. So you really want to make sure that it does stay in that reporting, like reporting just the facts as like an observer, rather than kind of adding in a lot of extra emotion or trying to analyze the event. Professional formatting is also one of the real key things to focus on for this project. So technical writing, every time there's a different style, whether it's you're doing a report and then you switch to an email or a text message or a resume or a letter, there's a new format that you want to make sure and use. And so some of the key pieces for a short report, two things that I would say. First, it should not look anything like an essay. It's not an essay, it's a short report. So there shouldn't be like an introduction paragraph and a conclusion paragraph. Those are not appropriate in this type of document. Instead, what you want to think of is what information needs to be there. What is a logical organization for that information? And then break it down by specific headings. So like you might have a section where it's like time, date, location. You might have a section where it's like a description or summary of event. So really think of like how you can head those different sections to break them down to really clear chunks of information versus making it look like a whole bunch of paragraphs that kind of run together. One of the other ways that you can really make sure it looks like a report versus an essay is to really focus on things like spacing and font. So in technical writing, double spacing is rarely, if ever, used. It's almost always single spaced. And so if you have a heading, right, maybe I have that description of event heading or summary of event heading. And then maybe I have one space after that, and then my summary paragraph of what occurred. And then I double space, and then I have the next heading. So whatever the spacing is, there isn't a rule about what it should be. It's about making it consistent and professional. So there should not be a ton of white space on the page. There should not be double spacing. The headings should stand out. They should not be just blended into the paragraph somehow. Font should be pretty standard. You don't want to use giant font. You also don't want to use little tiny font that's hard to read. And so paying attention to some of those details can really help. Sometimes in doing reports, and you'll see this with many different forms in technical writing, you can almost label each section and do something like put it in bold or underline or make just the headings a little bit bigger font. Lots of ways to kind of make those stand out. But again, it's really about that consistency when you do it. So just make sure whatever way you're going to label, be consistent in both visually and how you're setting it up in terms of, the labeling, the tone, etc. Last kind of bit, I know we're in a class and it's so easy to want to set up documents in MLA or APA format. This should not have traditional assignment headings at the top. Like this should look like a business report that you would actually submit out in sort of the real world. And out in the real world, you really would not label with a heading at the top or a cover page that has name, date, class, instructor, etc. So instead, what you'll want to do is probably somewhere towards the end of the report is usually where this is, though it could be at the top, it could come first as well, is make some sort of signature where you literally state your name as the reporter, as the one writing the report, and then that's how you're attaching your name to the assignment. So again, it's not something that you would do a traditional assignment heading, but think of how to work your name into the actual document itself so that it looks professional from top to bottom. Some students decide that they would like to include like a business heading, a business letterhead. You can make that up if you want. If you want it to be as real as possible, sure, you're absolutely welcome to kind of take a little bit more of that creative license in terms of, again, making it look like it's actually a document from somewhere beyond the college classroom. So these are just a few little quick tips, again, kind of making sure that you're really focusing on those specific details, reporting tone, and professional format. And as always, of course, if you have questions, reach out and let me know. Thank you.